In session 59, we're going to be adding and subtracting polynomials. We've already done some of that in the preceding session. In the preceding session, however, we added and subtracted the polynomials going horizontally across your screen from left to right. We're going to still be adding and subtracting polynomials in a normal sense here, with the one exception being that we're going to now add or subtract vertically, up and down. It's just like normal addition or subtraction. As you learned in the early grades, you can add things by going across the page, 7 plus 3 plus 6, and just write it across that way. Or you can stack them one on top of the other and add vertically. So that's the only thing different that we're doing here in this session as opposed to what we did in the preceding one. We're just going to stack them and add or subtract vertically. So here's our question. You have your first polynomial, 7x squared minus x plus 11. And then from that polynomial, we want to add to it the next polynomial of 4x squared plus 6x minus 7. Well, what we want to do is we want to take each monomial, each term of the polynomial, and put it directly underneath the term from the one above it that has the same degree. So we can see here that our x squared, our second degree monomial here, is underneath this one here of x squared, 7x squared. We've lined up our x to the firsts, x to the first here on top, 6x to the first on bottom, and then our last monomials being to the x to the 0, 11 up top, and minus 7 beneath. What we're doing here is we're adding together. Remember, to add polynomials together, you have to combine like terms, terms that have the same degree. So here we have 7x squared with 4x squared, same degree, so let's add them together. And remember, you add together terms that have the same degree by adding or subtracting their coefficients. So what is 7x to the second plus 4x to the second? Well, your coefficients are 7 and 4. 7 plus 4 is 11. And then we keep the same term itself, x squared. 7x squared plus 4x squared is 11x squared. What is minus x plus a 6x? Well, minus x plus a 6x is going to be plus 5x. That takes care of our x term. And then our last term, x to the 0. Remember, x to the 0 is just the same thing as 1. 1 times 11 is 11. 1 times minus 7 is minus 7. So even though the x to the 0 is not written, it's still there to remind us that 11 and 7 are monomials of the same degree. What is 11 plus a minus 7? 11 plus a minus 7 is plus 4. So the answer here to this monomial addition problem is 11x squared plus 5x plus 4. Let's take a look here at our second one. This one's a little bit longer. Our first polynomial up top here has 5 terms in it. 6x to the fourth, minus 4x to the third, plus 2x to the second, minus x minus 1. And then here, our second polynomial is 5x to the fourth, minus x squared, plus 4x, plus 6. One thing I want you to notice here is that in the second polynomial, we do not have a term that has a third degree to it. There is no x to the third. But in order to keep things lined up, we don't want to stick our minus x to the second here underneath our minus 4x to the third, because those would be of different degrees. So in this situation, we just leave a blank spot here to represent our term that's missing, but that term would have been an x to the third had we had one. So we just want to keep things lined up. Now that they're all lined up, like terms, like degrees, we can now subtract. What is 6x to the fourth minus 5x to the fourth? Well, that's just simply 1x to the fourth, and 1x to the fourth is just the same thing as x to the fourth. What is minus 4x to the third minus a 0? We actually have a 0x to the third here. Remember, 0 times anything is just 0. However, if it is helpful for you, you could have written plus 0x to the third, so that you then had a term in every slot. But remember, what is 0 times any number? It's just 0. But if it visibly helps you to see that, you can write it in and you have not changed the value, because remember, one of our properties of 0 is that you can add 0 to anything without changing the value of it. What then is minus 4x to the third minus 0x to the third? It's minus 4x to the third. Let's go to our next term, degree of 2. What is 2x squared minus a minus x squared? Well, that would be a plus 3x squared. Let's go to our x to the first term. What is minus x minus a positive 4x? Well, minus x minus a 4x is minus 5x. Then our last term, what is minus 1 minus 6? Minus 1 minus 6 would be minus 7. So the answer here to this polynomial subtraction problem is x to the fourth minus 4x to the third plus 3x squared minus 5x minus 7. So once again, you can see there's nothing different here as opposed to the previous session, other than we are now adding and subtracting vertically, or up and down, instead of adding or subtracting horizontally. Both methods are equally valid. Review quickly, polynomials can be added horizontally by combining like terms, and they can also be added vertically by putting like terms directly underneath one another. That'll finish up session 59.